Hey everybody, it's Jake Mace. Can you guys see me and hear me okay? I don't know if anybody's out there, if they could tell me if they can see me or hear me okay. Then begin the chat. I'm just going to start going, and this is part two, episode 2 of a series I want to make for my kids that are now 2 years old and 3 months old. I'm going to try doing this on the computer and see if the cam is better. Let me know how the footage is and if you guys can see and hear me. So this video is entitled "Advice to my kids for the future." How to become successful, especially what to do in your teens and your 20s, and how old people use young people. And so I'm not making these videos for you. I'm making these videos for my kids when they get to be this age, just in case something ever were to happen to me. I have a lot of experience with, in my life anyways, seeing older people using younger people. And I've been the younger person on that equation many times. And for me, I had a really good upbringing early on. And then from age 13 until into my late 30s or even early 40s now, I've kind of been on my own to kind of figure out life and figure out how life works. And I didn't really like that because I think it's very important that when somebody's a teenager or in their 20s or even into their 30s, they're not really a real adult yet. They're still becoming part of this planet and part of this earth. And I think there's a lot of things that can happen, positive and negative, to a teenager or to somebody in their 20s or early 30s that can help them. And this video is going to end in 25 minutes. And in 25 minutes, there's going to be a brand new Jake and Nicolle episode. I just pinned the link to it in this live chat, and I put it below the video in the description. So if you guys want to click the link, you can go over there and have that page open to a full episode, a full 45-minute episode. So what I mean is that for me, when I was a teenager, around 18 years old, I started, I was attending college, and I was going to a combination of colleges. I was going to Arizona State University. I was going to Duke University. And I really wanted to pursue postgraduate education. I did Duke University for studying in China, Mandarin, Putonghua. And I did Arizona State University because I lived there. My parents moved me from Canada to Arizona when I was younger. And I didn't really know what college was about. And so when I went to college for the first time, I definitely was being used by the college system, by the business people that run colleges, universities. I didn't really understand what university or college was. I didn't really have parents that prepared me for that. I know my dad had gone to college, but like I said, I was kind of alone at that time, and I didn't really understand the purpose of university. I didn't really understand the path that university can help play a role in, and that led me to make some errors in my life. So I dropped out of college after my junior year, and I started running my own business at 20 years old. And when I did that, I had some business mentors, and I had some mentors in the nature of business that I did was fitness and teaching and martial arts. And I had some mentors that, looking back on it as a 42-year-old man, definitely reaped the benefits of my youth. And I think that a lot of times young people can be very easily swayed by somebody who wants to sway you. So it's a young person in their late teens and 20s will do what they're told most of the time, unless their parents have prepared them. And they will be looking for someone to cling on to help them in this life. And that's what I did. I had some mentors in business and such that I kind of patented myself after, and gave me a lot of successes, but also gave them a lot of successes. And I feel that in my late 20s, it hurt me because they didn't want to be my friend anymore. And it allowed me to lose everything that I had. At the time, my marriage, my house, my business, all my friends, my contacts, my business property, and start over again when I was 27, 28 years old. And I just want to be there for my twin daughters and my son because I think it's important for the parents to be involved with late teenagers and people in their early 20s so they can help protect them from other adults that really don't have any of your kids' interests at heart. So I think this is important for just teenagers and 20 somethings to realize that if you find somebody who's a mentor or a teacher or a surrogate parent of yours, um, they don't, for the most part, everybody is looking for a Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid, but they don't exist that often. And so, for the most part, if somebody older wants to help you, it's usually because they're getting something out of it. Uh, and it's nearly impossible for a teenager or a young 20-year-old to understand who's using them and who's giving some selfless knowledge to them. And that's why it's difficult. I just replaced the roof on one of my off-grid structures here. And it was very important that for a 3-hour period, we had no rain. And looking at the weather report, it looked like from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. 2 days ago was the time to replace the roof. I took all the roof panels off and it started to rain instantly as soon as the last panel came off. And it was impossible for me to predict that 45 minutes when I was most exposed would rain on me. So we quickly had to scramble. And life is very much like that. It's impossible when you're in it. And when you're in the present, it's impossible to know what the future may hold. And so it's very difficult for a teenager or 20 something to know who's using them and who's not using them. And so that's why it's important to be aware of that if you're that young person and be tentative. Don't go all in with somebody that you didn't grow up with that doesn't have your blood in them, you know? And so I also think it's important for parents to be very close to your kids in the teenage years and 20 years because you can help to keep them safe when the world tries to take advantage of them. And then the second part of this video is don't be concerned with having success in your teens and 20s. I would say this to a young Jake Mace, and I would say this to a young Fox and a young River and a young Willow. Don't be concerned with having success in your teenage years and in your 20s. I think it's important to learn real skills during that time. And to me, real skills mean being an artist, being a scientist, being an engineer, being a musician, being a person that has real skills that would survive the apocalypse. If the zombie apocalypse happened tomorrow, what are the skills that would be very important for the years following these zombie apocalypse fallout? And I think that if you were a gardener, or if you were an engineer, or if you were a builder, or if you were an artist or a musician, or if you were a singer, you know, that goes into musician category. If you were a somebody who had skills that would add value to people's life, that's what you should cultivate in your teenage years and your 20 years. And a friend of mine named Seamus once told me that, you know, you need to offer something of value to people to be successful. And I never had anybody tell me that before. And I don't know, maybe I was just in a very vulnerable spot that day when he said that, but that really penetrated into my brain. And that was a very important lesson that my friend gave me. You won't be successful until you're able to offer something of value. Until that time, I was always just trying to work hard. And I really think that I've very rarely been around somebody who has harder work ethic than me. I've always had the Mr. Hustle in me. I've always had the hardest work ethic in the room. And I've always loved that. I've always been able to go longer and harder than the other guy. And sometimes when you're going longer and harder, looking for the sunrise, but you're going hard toward the west, you're never going to find the sunrise because the sunrise is in the east. You have to be working hard and going longer and harder toward the east in order to see the sunrise first. And so I think it's important for you in your teenage years and in all of your 20s, maybe even your early 30s, to please don't be lazy. Please don't waste your time, but please invest in a skill or skills that bring value to people. And to me, these are the skills that would survive the zombie apocalypse. engineer, scientist, musician, artist, builder. I just don't think that businessman and lawyer are skills that are needed in a post-apocalyptic zombie society. Uh, I don't think, internet marketing strategist is something that's needed in the future. I think that we've become very entrenched in some sort of like de facto reality, kind of like in Back to the Future Part Two, where Marty goes back to the future and Biff has taken over, and all of a sudden the whole world belongs to Biff because Biff got the sports almanac and changed the future. Now it's a de facto future. I feel like somewhere in the past, maybe it was the Kennedy assassination, but something happened to really change the future into some de facto present. And I think we need to remember gardener, engineer, scientist, artist, musician, builder, um, linguist, somebody who can speak many different languages or several languages. These are the things that I would cultivate in my teens and my 20s and even my early 30s. And you will see magic happens in your mid to late 30s when that's the case. Magic happens. There's something that God or the universe does to everybody around you when you're in your teens and your 20s that they don't respect you and they don't like you and they don't want to help you. You just look too young. Does that make sense? When you're a teenager, when you're in your 20s and early 30s, if your name is Jake Mace, or if your name is Willow, River, or Fox, you're going to just look too young. And you're not going to be taken seriously in your teens and 20s and early 30s. And so it's in your best interest to cultivate mastery in a skill, like I mentioned earlier. And all of a sudden, you'll get to be 35 years old, and your brain and your organs and your skin and your eyes and your teeth and your look will become that of a real adult. And just magically, the earth, the universe, God will allow everyone around you to see, oh, this is a real adult person now, and they're going to offer me some value. And what they're really seeing is they're seeing scars on your body. They're seeing the weathering of the storm on your rock. Does that make sense? Like when we look out and see a mountain, it looks impressive because of the erosion. When we look out and see a mountain, it looks impressive because so many harsh storms have hit that mountain and carved it to make it look very impressive and something which I want to climb. When you see a fresh, young, smooth hill, nobody wants to go up that. People want to go up the harsh, Mount Everest. They want to go up the one that looks like it's been weathered. And for me, around 35 years old, I started to look weathered. And I also had enough time now to where I had some skills in certain things that people found of value. And just like magic, it was night and day. I just woke up one day and all of a sudden I wasn't poor anymore. And all of a sudden I wasn't being taken advantage of anymore. And no longer was I the small fish in the pond. I was the shark swimming around with other sharks. And it felt good to be a real adult in that way. And I didn't realize that that was going to happen. And so if I was going to teach you guys, I would say I would teach you to don't stress making it in your teens and 20s, but also please don't be lazy. Develop real skills in engineering or science or artistry or musicality, uh, or building or linguistics, things that people around you will need in that apocalypse situation. Those are the things that will always be of value, or even in things in language and writing. I would say writing would be a really important one as well. And it's my job as the parent with Nicolle to be there long enough to instill in you help. And I hope that I can be there for all of your teenage years and all of your 20s and all of your 30s and beyond, so that I can help to guide you along the way, especially until you're 20, and give you the skills and the foundation you need to never be lost and to have those skills that will pay off to you in your mid 30s. I think that's a parent's job, is to my job is to give you all these things that you're going to need that are going to make you very powerful in your 30s, give them to you now when you're single digits in teenage years and in your 20s. I know there's lots of comments coming in. I'm going to go through the chat and check them out. Hope this meant something to somebody out there. Hope I'm not getting too long-winded. Trying to keep this thing tight. I'm going to put paste a link right now in the chat. This is the video you want to go watch right now. It's about to go live. And if you have a question you wanted to get across, you can always super chat right now. I'll stay on for 90 more seconds for maybe 2 minutes. If you have a super chat, you want to get your question answered, or you can go over to the link I just posted, or that's pinned above, or that's in the video description. You can check out our new episode. Hey, Nicole's in the chat. Hi, Nicole. Everybody say hi to Nicolle there. Yeah, would you guys like me to reopen my martial arts channel maybe in the early morning hours from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m.? I noticed that from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., my kids and Nicolle are usually just getting their last hour of sleep usually. And so that might be a good time for me to go live on my martial arts channel that still has 2 million followers, the Real Kung Fu, we call it Real Kung Fu channel. And I can do a live Qigong and martial arts lesson each morning. Maybe Tai Chi, Qigong lesson each morning. Let me know if you would like that. All right, I'll see you guys over at the live chat of the new video. Click the link now. It's about to start in a few seconds.